For the first time in 4 days, the Springfield Drifters return to play in action, and today they're going up against the top team in the WCL South. It's the Corvallis Knights. Hello and welcome to historic Goss Stadium. My name is Knight Uretsky, your play-by-play man for the Springfield Drifters. And yes, this was a 4-day break for the club, their longest of the summer, and they're happy to be back in action today against the Corvallis Knights. Springfield now 16-26. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 games since dropping the series finale against Cowlitz. They did win game number 3 against Walla Walla to avoid being swept for the third time this season, but overall Springfield looking to get back on track against their rivals. Springfield's now lost their last 3 series after winning 3 of 4 in late June and early July. And now Corvallis is ahead of them, and we mentioned it, Corvallis, the top team in the WCL South. But the good news for Springfield is the first time they played the Corvallis Knights, Springfield won 2 of 3, and with this series, each team is going to alternate home ballparks for each game. So game number 1, it's going to be here in Corvallis. Game number 2 tomorrow is going to be in Springfield, and then game number 3 is going to be back here at Goss Stadium. And in that first series between the two teams, Springfield was able to win both games in Springfield, and they dropped the one game here in Corvallis. That game in Corvallis was probably the worst performance of the year for Springfield. They lost the game 14-2. They trailed 14-0 overall. Now, Springfield, like we mentioned, they're now 6-9 in the WCL South in the second half of the year, 16-26 overall. And they have Corvallis ahead of them, and Corvallis, they're going to be a tough opponent. Yes, Springfield had won 2 of the 3 the first time, but Corvallis is the hottest team in the WCL right now. They've won 8 straight games, including games against the Portland Pickles, the Cowlitz Black Bears, and Wenatchee. They've outscored their opponents during that stretch 19 runs, and this Corvallis team is really, really good. They're consistently one of the top teams each year, and yet again, the Knights are at the top. So let's go ahead and recap you what happened last week in Walla Walla. So in game number 1, Max Chapman, who's getting the start today for Springfield, he walked 4 batters and allowed 3 hits to result in 7 early runs for the Walla Walla Sweets. Springfield battled back. They scored 5 runs by the 6th inning, but ultimately Addison Maddox, he came into the game, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits late, and that made it a 5-run game late in the game, and that was just a little bit too much for Springfield as they fell 10-5. Anson had a really good game at the plate, 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs, and then Taylor Holder had a 2 RBI single. And then on Wednesday, the Drifters, they lost again. It was 4-3 that one, a little bit closer that time. KJ Rufo, he could only go 3 innings, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits, but he did strike out an impressive 6 batters overall. Peyton Childers, Eli Holbert, and Ja Jacopine, they all finished the game with 5 scoreless frames, each tallying 2 strikeouts, and so that was a really good effort from the bullpen there. 7 hits for Springfield in the game total, but none were bigger than Isaiah Thomas's 9th inning 3-run home run. It made it a 1-run game at that point. Ultimately, Springfield fell 4-3, but it was Isaiah Thomas's first home run since June 6, 2001. Really great stuff for him as he's making his way back towards baseball. And then Cade Chris, he had a 1-out double, put the tying run in scoring position. Ultimately, though, the Drifters weren't able to come out on top. Game number 3 was on Thursday. And man, that feels like a while ago. The Drifters did win that one 4-3. Springfield scored 3 runs in the 5th on a Caden Delosier 2 RBI double and a Taylor Holder RBI groundout. They took the lead then at 3-1 after Walla Walla took a 1-0 lead in the 4th. And then Julian Hernandez, Diego Chavez, Eli Holbert, and Zach Chonkich all combined for the final 5 frames after James Boone's 4-inning, 5-strikeout performance started things off. Ultimately, though, Springfield ended up winning 4-3. Nate Stevens went 2 for 4 on Thursday with a double, and overall he had 3 hits on the series, with 2 of them being doubles in that series against Walla Walla. It's really good stuff for him as he's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. He got it going against Ridgefield. He got 2 hits in that one, and so in his last 3 games he's had hits, and 2 of them have been multi-hit games, and 2 of his hits, 2 of the 5, have been doubles. Really good stuff for Nate Stevens. Really happy for him. His batting average is actually raised up to 205, so he's finally above the Mendoza line, and we're really, really happy for him. And then the other thing for Springfield in that game number 3 was 7 of 9 batters came up to the plate, got a hit. Now we're going to step aside and take a break for the national anthem, but when we come back, we're going to introduce you today's starting lineups here on the Drifters live stream. Welcome back to historic Goss Stadium. Knight Uretsky, your play-by-play man with you as the Springfield Drifters, coming in 16-26, take on the 30-12 Corvallis Knights. It is a hot day here in Corvallis. Game time temperature 95 degrees. It was over 100 degrees when I drove to the ballpark this morning, and man, you could just tell in the pregame workouts these players were wearing their sweat. It is a hot day out there, and it's going to be a hot day for the Bats. Let's go ahead and give you today's starting lineups. Jalen Ray going to lead things off. He'll be the shortstop. Trevor Anson, the second baseman, in the 2 spot. Dane Frazier, the third baseman, batting third. Caden Delosier, the first baseman, in the 4 spot, and so you get the entire infield in the top 4 of the order. Isaiah Thomas, the right fielder, batting 5th. Taylor Holder, the DH, in the 6th spot. Nate Stevens, who's coming off that 3-for-7 weekend against Walla Walla, he's going to be batting behind Holder in the 7th spot. Cannon Reeder going to be batting 8th, and then Cole Klechner rounds out the lineup. He'll be in left field, Reeder in center field. Reeder going to be playing in his future ballpark here at Goss Stadium. Springfield, they'll be taking on the right-hander in Joey Gartrell. He is the right-hander from the University of Portland, and that's who Springfield is going to have to face off today. Gartrell, so far on the year, this is going to be his 5th start of the year, his 8th game overall. His numbers pretty impressive. 1-0 with a 1.20 ERA, 22 1/3 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts to only 5 walks so far. And he had a win in a game against Ridgefield earlier on where he threw 6 innings, 5 hits of 1-run baseball. He's a guy that's come out of the pen and started it for Corvallis, but today he's getting his 5th start overall. Jalen Ray going to step up to the plate. He's coming off a 2-for-11 week against Walla Walla. Or should be 2-for-11 performance against Corvallis, a 3-for-6 performance against Walla Walla, as he's on a 3-game hit streak. Gartrell on the mound, Ray at the plate. First pitch comes in, high and away, a fastball, and we're off and underway here in Corvallis right on time at 6:35. So Jalen Ray, he was actually hitless in one of the games against Corvallis as the ball misses down and away. 2-0 to Jalen Ray. Hasn't had that happen too many times this season. In fact, it's only happened 3 times, and Corvallis was one of them. Now there's a stoppage and delay as looks like Max Chapman and Nate Stevens running all the way over from the bullpen towards the Drifters' dugout. Right now they're along the right field wall. They're waiting for them to sprint over. I think that they just got a little bit rushed. I'm not sure if they knew that the game was already starting at that point. Either way, they're going to have to run over. It results in a stoppage of play. Either way, a 2-0 count to Jalen Ray. Pitch comes in, and it's a strike. Fastball down and away, and it's now 2-1 to Jalen Ray. Overall in the year for the shortstop, a .371 batting average. It's the top on the Springfield Drifters team. He looks at a pitch outside, and it's now 3-1 to him. 33 hits for him. He started a majority of his games at shortstop. He came in as a center fielder, but man, he's been in that shortstop position, I'd say, about 95% of the time. Fouls this one off, and we're full 3-2. So just 2 hits in that first series against Corvallis for Jalen Ray. It was a pretty poor series offensively for him. Hoping to have success here this time. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Going to be lined out towards right field. It drops down for a base hit. They're going to throw it to first anyways, but Ray beats it out. Coming in right field was Lavoie. He threw it to Romero, the first baseman, but Jalen Ray is aboard with the leadoff single. It's a good way to start for Springfield here. Jalen Ray battles off a full count at bat and then singles it to right field, going opposite field that time. His 34th hit of the season, and this brings up Trevor Anson. 0-0 the score, just the 1 hit so far for Springfield. Gartrell going to have to work out of the stretch. First pitch to Anson, high and inside, and it's now 1-0. So Trevor Anson, the first time he faced off against the Corvallis Knights, he went 2 for 10 with a run. Overall in the year, just a .218 batting average as he fouls this one away, 1-1. He has 17 hits overall, but 4 of them just came this past week against Walla Walla. He went 4 for 9. Scored 3 runs overall, and he's on a 3-game hit streak. Mentioned just .218, but he was batting below around 188 about 3 games ago. Pitch comes in right at the knees, 88 miles per hour for a strike, and it's now 1-2 to Trevor Anson. On deck is Dane Frazier, the third baseman, with Jalen Ray leading off from first. Romero there to hold. Infield shifted in double play depth. Pitch to Anson, 82-mile-per-hour slider down and away. It's now 2-2. You can see Mason Lee, the second baseman, right now he's covering second base to try to field a double play, and he's standing basically just a few feet over to the right of the second base bag. Here's the 2-2, and that one's fouled off by Anson straight back. Do it one more time. First two batters already battling against Gartrell. This is something that Springfield's going to want to do a lot of today, especially in the heat. If they can extend innings, make it a little harder on the defense, they can find some success. Anson chops this softly towards the left side. Fielding it is Darby, the shortstop. He'll go for 2 for 1, and that's all they get as Anson sprinted down the first baseline. Ray out at second on the force. It's a 6-4 ground out, and the first out's recorded here in the first. So bring up Dane Frazier, the third baseman. One out, runner at first in Anson. Let's go ahead and give you the defense for Corvallis in the outfield. Briley Knight, Jordan Advincula, and Brady Lavoie left to right. In the infield, Spencer Scott, Xander Darby, Mason Lee, and Kiko Romero left to right as well. Pitch comes in to Dane Frazier for a strike, 0-1. Behind the plate is going to be Ryan Stafford, the catcher. And so you get Spencer Scott at third base, Darby at shortstop, Lee at second base, and Romero at first base, and that's the infield. Frazier looks at a pitch that's called a strike, and it's now 0-2 to him. Frazier had a home run the first series against Corvallis. He went 2 for 7, but did get that big fly. It was at home, though, in Springfield, and that series finale, 3-1. Pitch comes in, down and away, and it's now 1-2 to Dane Frazier. Frazier, one of the best hitters on this Drifters team. He's actually second in batting average at .289, but on the road he's a different animal, a .382 batting average. Fouls away the 1-2, and we'll do it one more time. On deck is the left-handed hitter, Caden Delosier. At first is Trevor Anson. 1 out, top of the first, 0-0 the score. Gartrell ready at the waist. Here's the pitch. The 1-2 bounces in. Going back to first is Anson as Stafford behind the plate kept it in front of him. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Dane Frazier. There's a slight breeze out towards left field, but like I said, it's a hot day, and with the weather being this hot, I believe the ball is going to fly today. Frazier fouls this one away, and we'll do the 2-2 one more time. So Springfield already working some counts against Gartrell. They had a full count to Jalen Ray, a 2-2 count to Trevor Anson where he fouled off a couple of pitches, and now this 2-2. And that's going to be called strike 3. They threw it back to first. Anson was in there safely, but Frazier's called out on strikes, and the second out is recorded. It's a backwards decay for Joey Gartrell. It's his first strikeout, and it brings up the left-handed hitter, Caden Delosier. 2 outs, runner at first for Springfield in the 0-0 top of the first inning. Just the 1 hit so far for Jalen Ray, but Anson reached on the fielder's choice. Delosier skies this high in the air towards left field. Under it now is Advincula in center, and he'll make the catch in the alleyway. And the inning is over. So Delosier flies out and leaves Anson stranded at first. Just the 1 hit for Jalen Ray to lead things off. We head now to the bottom of the first inning, 0-0 the score. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road here in Corvallis. Bottom of the first inning is 0-0 the score after a scoreless top of the first for Springfield. Just the one hit for Jalen Ray. Anson left stranded at first after he reached on the fielder's choice. Let's go ahead and give you today's starting lineup for Corvallis. Jordan Advincula going to be the center fielder, leading things off. Mason Lee in the second spot, playing second base. Kiko Romero, the first baseman, in the 3 spot. Briley Knight in left field, the cleanup hitter. Ryan Stafford, the catcher, batting 5th. Xander Darby, the shortstop, in the 6th spot. Brady Lavoie batting 7th, the right fielder. Tanner Smith going to DH in the 8th spot, and then Spencer Scott, the third baseman. He rounds out the Corvallis Knights order. They'll be facing off against the left-hander and Max Chapman, making his 3rd start of the year with Springfield. All 3 games that he played in so far, or actually rather 2 games he's played in so far, have been starts. And so the lefty's going to get the nod tonight. Advincula in the box, and the first pitch here on the bottom of the first is a called strike on the low inside part of the plate. 0-1. So Max Chapman, 2 starts prior, he's picked up the loss in both of them. Once against Walla Walla and once against Portland. Lefty looking for success here today. Advincula looks at a pitch that's called a strike, and it's now 0-2. Chapman, he's a heavy ground ball pitcher. In fact, that first time we saw him against Portland, the Drifters were able to turn 3 double plays. He's been able to force the ground ball this season, but the walks have been an issue. The 0-2, fastball away, and it's now 1-2. In fact, the walks were so much of an issue in his last start against Walla Walla that he threw 3 innings, walked 4 batters in those 3 innings, only allowed 3 hits, but because of the walks, 6 runs came in to score. Chapman lost his footing on the mound, threw a pitch well away. He'll get up and gives a thumbs up. I think he's fine. Big smile on his face, and it's now a 2-2 count. I don't think I've seen that at all this season. Quite literally slipped off the mound. Either way, the lefty gets back on the bump. Chapman, a pitcher that doesn't go with the windup. He's strictly from the stretch. He stares into the lefty Advincula. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Here's the pitch. High and inside. Almost hit Advincula, but now we're full 3-2. Advincula, he was a monster against the Drifters the first time these 2 teams played. He went 4 for 9 with 2 runs and an RBI. Here's the payoff pitch. Chopped softly left side. Frazier, the third baseman, coming in on the grass. Picks it up, throws to first quickly, and just got the speedy Advincula. It's going to be a tough play, but it's a 5-3 ground out, and Frazier just beat the leadoff hitter. Advincula, 15 stolen bases this year, and that'll just give you a little bit of a glimpse to his speed. So we'll bring up, though, Mason Lee, the second baseman. Nobody on, 1 out in the 0-0 game here in the bottom of the first. Chapman ready, and here's the first pitch to Lee, high and away, 1-0. So Mason Lee, we only saw him 1 time in that first series against Corvallis. Just got the start in the final game. He went 1 for 2 with a hit by pitch. He'll foul this one back, and it's now 1-1. Overall in the year, Lee, a .263 batting average, 8 doubles. He had a 6-game hit streak in the middle of July, then went cold. Starting to hit the ball a little bit better as of late. Got the start today at second base. 1-1, grounded towards the left side. Frazier picks it up in the dirt this time. Throws over to the left side, and it's off the hand of Delosier, the first baseman. He threw it left of the bag. Delosier tried to stretch, but ultimately went off his glove, and Lee's aboard at first. I believe they're going to count it as an error, and it is an error. So it's an E5 for Frazier. Springfield, their 46th error of the season. Excuse me, rather 59th error of the season. They currently have the 12th best defense in the WCL, or as you could say the other hand, they have the 5th worst defense in the WCL. Either way, they get an error here, and this brings up Kiko Romero. First pitch to Romero, high and away, and it's now 1-0. Kiko Romero, he's probably the guy you don't want at the plate right now. He's a guy that just absolutely lit it up against the Drifters. 2 home runs and a double for him that first series. He'll foul this one back just above the press box, and it's now 1-1. Overall in the year, 5 home runs for the powerful hitter from Central Arizona. Just won the JUCO World Series there this past year with Jalen Ray, the shortstop today for Springfield. 1-1 the count, runner at first, 1 out. Here's the pitch from Chapman. Going to be lined over a jumping Trevor Anderson at second base. Stopping at second is going to be Lee, and it's just going to be a single for Romero as the throw came in from right field and Thomas towards third base. It's a single, and now back-to-back men are aboard for the Corvallis Knights. Just one out still. First hit for Corvallis. Mason Lee moves over to second. Romero at first. Briley Knight coming up to the plate with one out in the 0-0 ball game here in the bottom of the first. So I mentioned it, Max Chapman, a heavy ground ball pitcher. We'll see if he can force a ground ball here with Briley Knight, the left-handed hitter, as Springfield looks to turn two. First pitch high, and it's now 1-0. So here is Briley Knight. He made his return to the Corvallis Knights after spending last season in the Cape Cod League. Prior to that, he won the WCL MVP, actually playing here for his dad, who is the head coach of the Corvallis Knights. Knight grounds this one foul, and it's now 1-1. Either way, he's made his return to Corvallis this summer. Hasn't had as much success as he had 2 years ago. Just a .250 batting average, 3 doubles, 2 home runs for Knight. Chapman ready at the waist. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runners getting a little antsy on the bags, and now Chapman's going to step off. You can see a second, Mason Lee, he was hopping around trying to get Chapman to maybe balk. Instead, Chapman steps off the mound and gets ready again. Kicks and fires the 1-1. Down below the knees, and it's now 2-1 to Briley Knight. So in 2019, when he was the WCL MVP, he had a on-base percentage of .460 and a slugging percentage of .621. Really impressive numbers, just not nearly as much success this season. Count now 2-1, or excuse me, rather 3-1, as the pitch missed high and inside. And Chapman's going to have to work himself a little bit out of this jam. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 runners on, just 1 out. 0-0 the score, the lefty ready. Here's the pitch to Briley Knight. Going to be lined to right field, down the right field line fair. They're going to wave Lee. He'll come in to score easily. The throw from Thomas gets cut off at first by Caden DeLozier. Over to third is Kiko Romero, and stopping at first is Briley Knight. It's a 1-0 Corvallis lead after the RBI single for Briley Knight, his 10th RBI of the season. So this brings up Ryan Stafford, the catcher. Runners on the corners, 1 out. 1-0 Corvallis with the lead. Chapman ready. Here's the first pitch, and it's fouled away by Stafford. 0-1. So Stafford's going to come up to the plate with Knight at first and Romero over at third. This is Stafford's first action between these two teams. He was a late addition to this Corvallis team. Overall, this is going to be his 6th start of the year. Fouls away the pitch, and it's quickly 0-2. One looked like it clipped a fan. A lot of oohs and ahs in the stadium here. And, of course, right after that, they do the safety reminder, reminding everybody that there's going to be a chance of a bat or ball entering the stands. Either way, it's an 0-2 count, and here's the pitch from Chapman. It's going to be lined out towards center field, not very deep. Tagging at third is Romero. Catching it in center field is Cannon Reeder. The throw comes to the plate, but it's going to be cut off by DeLozier at first. And coming in to score is Romero. It's a sac fly by Ryan Stafford. And Corvallis takes another run, and it's now 2-0.
Coming up to the plate now is your shortstop. From UCSB, please welcome number 12, Xander Darby.
This brings up Xander Darby, the shortstop. 2 outs, runner at first, 2-0 the score. Here's the first pitch from Chapman, and it misses away, 1-0. So Chapman today working with Nate Stevens behind the plate. Stevens and him, both teammates at Johnson County Community College. Now they're working here in the WCL. This pitch is fouled back by Darby, and it's now 1-1. Stevens ultimately left Johnson County and decided to go to Wazoo. Chapman, he'll be heading off to UNC Charlotte next year. The reason he's on this Drifters team is because of Nate Stevens, so the pair have been working together. Darby's going to line this towards right field. Thomas stops as it drops right in front of him. And Darby's going to be aboard with the lined single to right field. And Corvallis gets another hit, their third of the inning.
Your right fielder strolling up to the plate now from San Diego State. Please welcome number 23,
So Briley Knight moves over to second base. Darby to first after the single, and this brings up Brady Lavoie. First pitch to Lavoie. The runner's half stealing. They're going to try to get him in a rundown. Stevens back picks to first. They got him in a pickle. They throw it to second. He's safe. Going over to third and sliding in safely is Briley Knight. And that was a disastrous play for Springfield that didn't work to their favor. Corvallis, they got lucky. They were caught in between the base paths. Springfield, I'm not even sure if they've had a pickle this year. Either way, they got in a rundown. Delosier threw it to second, and sliding in there safely was Darby. And now two runners are in scoring position for the Knights, and Brady Lavoie's at the plate. The first pitch, though, was away. Chapman ready now. Here's the pitch to Lavoie, and that one's high and away. It's now 2-0. So 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Runners at second and third. Corvallis leading 2-0 after 2 runs so far. One on RBI hit by Briley Knight and one on a sac fly. This one's fouled away by Lavoie. Now 2-1. Lavoie, the first time he faced off against Springfield, he sent a ball over the wall. He had a home run here in that 14-2 game. Corvallis, they had several home runs that game. Kiko Romero hit one. Lavoie hit one, as well as Eli Kennel. Lavoie's going to smack this hard towards left field over the head of Cole Klechner in left field. 2 runs are going to score as Lavoie's digging for 2 and gets there standing up. Hard hit ball by Lavoie, and it scores 2 on the 2 RBI double. That's now 4-0 for Corvallis. That one was 105 miles per hour off the bat of Lavoie. It was only a 79 mile per hour off-speed pitch by Chapman. And man, did Lavoie crush that one to left. Klechner was fighting off in the sun, but ultimately he jumped for it, went over his head off the wall. And Lavoie gets 2 RBIs and a double. This brings up Tanner Smith, the DH today for the Corvallis Knights. He was another late addition to this team, as the first pitch to him is going to be called to strike, 0-1. Smith playing in his home ballpark as he currently goes here to Oregon State. Was a member of the Beavers team this past year, now playing with the Corvallis Knights. It's only his 6th game with Corvallis. The 0-1 to Smith inside, it's now 1-1. Overall with Corvallis this summer, 3 for 17 with 3 hits coming in 3 separate games. So he's been able to scatter them. Here's the 1-1. Going to be sent high in the air towards center field, not very far. Reader over towards his right, under it, makes the catch, and the inning is over. Overall, 4 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error overall. 1 runner left stranded in scoring position for the Corvallis Knights. We'll head to the second inning with the Springfield Drifters trailing 4-0. You're watching to the Springfield Drifters here on the road in Corvallis. So happy to be back with you guys on the road here in Corvallis after missing that last series in Walla Walla. We look forward to providing you the rest of the game. Don't go anywhere. We got the second inning coming up. 4-0 Corvallis with the lead after a 4-run bottom of the first inning, which they sent 8 batters to the plate. Springfield, though, they just got 1 hit in that first inning. 4 batters came up, and that means the 5th batter here, Isaiah Thomas, is going to be leading things off. Taylor Holder and Nate Stevens following. First pitch to Isaiah Thomas, buckled him up, swung right through it, lost his footing, and Gartrell gets ahead 0-1. That's really impressive stuff for Gartrell, as Isaiah Thomas, former Vanderbilt Commodore, now heading off to Oregon next year. The 0-1, he golfs at a pitch down and away, and it's now 0-2 to Isaiah Thomas. Thomas so far with the Drifters since joining the team, 5 for 16 for a .313 batting average. Just picked up a double in his first home run with the Drifters this past series against Walla Walla. He'll, however, though, get rung up on 3 pitches as he's called strike 3. Second strikeout for Gartrell, both of them backwards Ks. This brings up Taylor Holder, the DH today. Holder playing in his hometown. He's a Corvallis native. He'll step in. 1 out, nobody on. 4-0 Corvallis leading here in the top of the second. First pitch to Taylor Holder. Hard line drive ball on the ground. Gets into the alleyway in left center. Holder's going to stop at first. It looked like it was a play that could have been made by the shortstop Darby. It just found its way under his glove. Be interesting if they count that as a hit or an error. It could go either way. We're going to wait for the official designation before we say. But either way, Holder's going to be aboard at first.
Now batting for the Drifters, the catcher number 18, Nate Stevens.
So bring up Nate Stevens, though. They've yet to officially make a name, and they are going to say it's an error. So it's going to be an E6, and Stevens at the plate at Holder at first. It's high above the chest, and it's now 1-0 to Nate Stevens. Nate Stevens, he's on a 3-game hit streak. He's raised his batting average all the way to .205. As he looks at a pitch called a strike. It's now 1-1 to him. Really happy for him. He had a 3 for 7 weekend with a double in Walla Walla. That was after having a 2-hit performance in Ridgefield. He'll look at a pitch down and away, and it's now 2-1 to him. He's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. Just talking to him in Ridgefield, he said that he was getting a little bit lower in his stance. It's helped a lot. He'll drive this one deep towards left field. Looking up, and it's gone off the top of the wall. 2-run shot for Nate Stevens, opposite field. And the catcher cuts the lead in half. It's 4-2. How about Nate Stevens as of late? Now 4 hits in his past 7 at-bats. 3 of them have been extra bases. That one a home run. Second home run of this year for Nate Stevens. He had a home run against the CCL Showcase team. It won't come up on the stat book. Either way, it was an opposite field home run against the CCL ST, and he gets one here. Here's Cannon Reeder coming up to the plate as the pitch miss is high. And it's now 1-0. So 4-2 the score after the 2-run shot for Nate Stevens. Drives in Taylor Holder, and here's the second pitch to Reeder. That one high, and it's now 2-0. Reeder overall in the year, a .225 batting average. Playing here in his future home ballpark for the second time. Getting the start today in center field. Looks at a pitch, brush him up inside, and it's now 3-0 to him. Overall, the first time against the Corvallis Knights. Reeder, he went 2 for 8, 2 doubles. There's a 3-0, called for a strike, and it's now 3-1. Reeder overall 9 doubles on the year, although he hasn't had as many as of late. He'll line this one off the glove of a diving Spencer Scott at third base. It finds its way to left field. Reeder digging for 2. The throw comes in, but Reeder slides in safely just before the throw. Hard hit by Cannon Reeder. It was going to be right down the third base line. Scott dove for it. It went off his glove, and Reeder standing aboard at second. And they're going to call that a hit, so it'll be a double for Reeder there. Second hit of the inning for Springfield, and this will bring up Cole Klechner, the 9-hole hitter. So Reeder, another double against Corvallis, his 3rd overall, his 10th double of the season. First pitch to Cole Klechner, in there for a strike, and it's now 0-1. Klechner went 1 for 7 this past week in Walla Walla. He did score a run. 3rd best batting average on this Drifters team. Reeder's going to be picked off at second. As they go to second, they throw it to third this time as Reeder bolted to third. And catching it was Darby, who threw it over to Spencer Scott at third base. They tagged out Reeder. And the young incoming freshman just got a little bit too antsy on the base paths there. And now Cole Klechner will stand in with 2 outs and nobody on. 4-2 the score here in the top of the second. Pitch comes to Klechner as he grounds it to the right side. Picking up is Mason Lee. He'll flip it over to Romero at first. And that'll do it for the top of the second. 2 hits overall in the inning for Springfield. One no bigger than Nate Stevens' 2-run shot, who drove in Taylor Holder, who had reached on an error. We head now to the bottom of the second inning. 4-2, Corvallis leading. You're watching the Springfield Drifters here in Corvallis on the road. Max Chapman back on the bump for the bottom of the second inning. 4-2 the score after 2 runs came in on the Nate Stevens home run in the top of the second inning. 3 hits so far for Springfield, 4 in that bottom of the first inning with 4 runs for Corvallis. We mentioned the hot weather today. Like I said, the ball's going to fly, and it already is. So far 6 runs, and we're only an inning and a half through. Spencer Scott, Jonah Advincula, and Mason Lee do up 9-1-2 for Corvallis. First pitch from Chapman. 84-mile-per-hour pitch called for a strike on the outside part of the plate. 0-1 to Spencer Scott. So Scott was the only member of the Knights team that didn't come up to the plate last inning. Gets his first look at Chapman here. Grounds a soft ball towards the left side. Frazier picks it up at third in the dirt. Throws it high over the head of Delosier. And aboard at first is Spencer Scott. That is the second error for Dane Frazier at third base. Second E5, second error of the game, and the 60th error of the season for Springfield, who has the 5th worst defense in the WCL. So here's Jonah Advincula. He's the center fielder. Runner at first, nobody out. 4-2 the score, bottom of the second. Advincula shows bunt, got it down but foul. And it's now 0-1. So Advincula, so far, a ground out in his first at bat to Dane Frazier. First time we saw Advincula, he was playing at the University of Redlands with James Boone. Since then, entered the transfer portal and has already found his new schools. He looks at a pitch away, and it's now 1-1. He's going to be headed off to Washington State next year, and right now, at the batter's box, he's standing next to a future teammate and Nate Stevens behind the plate. Really impressive numbers, though, for Advincula at the D3 Redlands School. He hit .430 overall with 28 stolen bases. Having a good summer here in Corvallis as well as he looks at a pitch away, 2-1. He's been the leadoff hitter for the Corvallis Knights this season. Done a great job. 7th best batting average in the WCL. It is a .349 average. Plus, he also has 15 stolen bases, so quite the quick guy. The 2-1 pitch, called a strike. It looked like Advincula was going to try to bunt it down. Missed it anyways. Either way, it's a called strike, and it's 2-2. Scott leading off from first. Delosier there holding. Chapman shakes a couple of times, now comes set at the waist. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Check swing, he didn't go fully around and drops low below the knees away, 3-2. We've had several deep counts so far in the early part of this game, and you got to think it's going to take a wear on these players with the heat being what it is today. It was 94 degrees at first pitch. Here's the payoff pitch, and this is fouled away by Advincula. We'll do it one more time. Scott taking the trot all the way back to first. Pretty decent turnout here today in Corvallis as the shade begins to creep in. You can see a lot of the fans sitting in the shaded area looking to avoid the heat today. Here's the 3-2, grounded towards the right side. Delosier picks it up right of the chalk, and it's going to be another foul ball. And Chapman's going to have to work again for this out. Runner at first after Scott reached on the air. That led things off here in the bottom of the second. Fans getting into it. Chapman trying to get the out. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Vinko at the plate, so far 0 for 1. Payoff pitch as the runner goes, and Advincula slaps it foul into the bleachers. We'll have another pitch of this at bat. It's going to be pitch number 9 coming up in this at bat. Chapman ready. Here's the payoff catch. One more time, and it's fouled again. Pitch number 10 coming up. So far entering this at bat, he had 36 pitches, so he's already coming up to pitch number 46. We're only here in the second inning. This Springfield team, they are depleted in the bullpen as more and more pitchers are starting to leave the team. So not a great start for Chapman and the Drifters. Here's the 3-2. Advincula reaches for it, pops it in the air in the infield. Jalen Ray at shortstop under it, makes the catch. Heading back to first is Scott. And Advincula's out on a pop-up. First out is recorded here in the bottom of the second inning. 4-2 Corvallis leading after a 4-run at bottom of the first and the 2-run shot for Nate Stevens in the top of the second. So Advincula now 0 for 2 today. This brings up Mason Lee, the second baseman. He reached on an error last inning, came around to score. Now stands in with Scott at first, 1 out. Lee going to chop this towards the left side. Ray doesn't have a play at 2, so he'll gun it to first. Delosier makes the stretch at first and gets out Mason Lee. But heading over to second on the play is Spencer Scott. This will bring up Kiko Romero, the runner at second. Spencer Scott there with 2 outs. Romero so far, he singled to right his first time up, as he's continued his monstrous tear against the Springfield Drifters. He's now 6 for 13 against Springfield. First pitch to him, foul tipped into the mitt of Nate Stevens, popped its way free, and it's now 0-1. So Romero was teammates with Jalen Ray at Central Arizona, went on a tear in the JUCO World Series. Overall, was named the JUCO World Series MVP and the most outstanding offensive player in the entire tournament. Here's the 0-1. Down and away. Curveball just broke a little bit too far outside. 1-1. Overall, he batted .407 in the NJCAA World Series. 6 home runs overall, 11 RBIs. Just a powerful hitter at the plate. Here's the 1-1. Grounded sharply foul left of the third base line. 1-2. So Chapman looking for a scoreless frame after allowing 4 runs in the bottom of the first. All he needs is one more strike to get out of it. Runner at second and Spencer Scott. 2 outs, Romero at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Infield on the right side, shaded a little bit further back with the powerful Romero. Pitch comes in, down and away, and it's now 2-2. Chapman trying to get him to chase on a curveball. Just again, it broke too far away. That time 80 mile per hour from Chapman, 13-inch break. Here's the 2-2. Romero looks at it again, miss outside. And the count is full. So Chapman working with another full count, had a long 10-pitch at bat against Jonah Advincula earlier this inning. Now again battling with the lefty, Romero. Chapman shakes, finally nods his head. He'll come set. Looking into Stevens, his former JUCO catcher. And he'll hit Romero on the back. Lost all control of that off-speed pitch. It just broke right into the batter's box. Hit him on the upper back portion of his back. And now Romero's over at first for the second time today. A hit by pitch. And this will bring up Briley Knight. 2 runners on, 2 outs, bottom of the second. 4-2 Corvallis leading. And Chapman still trying to get out of this jam. Briley Knight, the former WCL MVP at the plate. First pitch tonight, grounded foul into the dugout of the Drifters, 0-1. So Knight's going to be heading into his senior year at the University of Portland. He originally went to the University of Utah, and in fact, when he was playing at Utah, that was when he came here to the Corvallis Knights and won the WCL MVP. Ultimately, though, decided to become a pilot and transfer. Grounds this one foul, and it's now 0-2 to Briley Knight. Overall, this past year at the University of Portland, he only played in 12 games. He had 10 starts as a total. 263 batting average for him. It was an improvement, though, from 2021, where he had a 247 batting average, and that was in 45 games that he played in. Here's the 0-2 tonight, and that's going to hit him. Right on the forearm. Back-to-back batters reach base safely off of hit by pitches. And now the bases are juiced with 2 outs.
Let's welcome your catcher to the plate. From Cal Poly, here's number 4, Ryan Stafford.
So Scott moves over to third. Romero standing at second. Briley Knight at first. And here's Ryan Stafford. Had a sac fly his first time up. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Has a chance to drive in some runs. First pitch to him. Bounces in. It's now 1-0. So we mentioned in the first inning, Chapman, he's a pitcher that gets a lot of ground balls. Haven't seen too many ground balls in this game. He's also a guy that walks a lot of batters. Hasn't walked any yet, just the hit by pitches. This is grounded foul by Stafford, 1-1. So far in this inning, no hits for Corvallis. Scott standing at third after an error by Dane Frazier, his second so far in this game. And then back-to-back hit by pitches have loaded the bases. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's below the knees, 2-1. Chapman right now working with a lot of grinded out at bats. He's had some deep counts to really try to work with as a 2-1 count here. Pitch comes in and Stafford fouls it away, 2-2. So again, Chapman just 1 strike away from getting out of this inning. Hasn't allowed a run so far, looking to hope to keep it that way after Nate Stevens hit a 2-run shot to make it a 2-run game. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a foul tip into the mitt of Stevens. You can see the Drifters player starting to drift over, but Stevens couldn't corral it into his glove. It was foul tipped barely right in there, popped just free right in front of him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch, lined over the head of Dane Frazier. That'll score 2 runs. Going over to third is Briley Knight, and heading into second with a 2 RBI double is Ryan Stafford. And the Knights extend the lead. It's now 4 again, 6-2. Three RBIs now for Stafford after that sac fly last inning. Stevens, the catcher, going to go talk things over with Chapman. Not a very hard hit ball for Stafford. Just got enough on it just to get over a leaping Dane Frazier at third. It only came off 79 miles per hour off the bat. Either way, it was just enough to get over the third baseman Frazier and down the left field line. Knight heads to third on the double. Romero and Scott come in to score. 6-2 Corvallis with the lead. 2 runners still in scoring position, and here's Xander Darby, the shortstop. 5th hit of the game for Corvallis. First so far here in the second. First pitch to Darby, lined out towards center field. Reeder stops, makes the catch in dead center, throws it in, and the inning is over. Just the 2 runs on the 2 RBI double for Ryan Stafford, the only hit in the inning. 1 error by Dane Frazier, as we head now to the 3rd inning. 6-2 Corvallis with the lead. You're watching the Springfield Drifters here on the Drifters live stream. Top of the 3rd inning, 6-2 the score after the 2 RBI double for Ryan Stafford of the Corvallis Knights. Jalen Ray, Trevor Anson, Dane Frazier, 1, 2, and 3. Top of the order due up for the Springfield Drifters. First pitch from Gartrell, misses away, and it's now 1-0 to Jalen Ray. So far today for Springfield, 3 hits, and Jalen Ray was one of them. He led off with a single in the first. We'll see a pitch down and away, missed the zone, and it's now 2-0. Jalen Ray, that single was towards right field, able to go opposite field for it. His 34th hit of the year. Now he's ahead 3-0. Haven't seen too many 3-0 counts from Gartrell, the right-hander. So far, hasn't walked a batter. He's allowed the 3 hits. 2 runs on the Nate Stevens 2-run shot last inning. Also has 2 strikeouts. The 3-0 catches the zone at the knees, and it's now 3-1. 87 mile per hour off-speed pitch there for Gartrell. Here's the 3-1. Looked at, called a strike, and it's now 3-2 to Jalen Ray. So Jalen Ray with that single, he now is on a 4-game hit streak. He's had so many hit streaks this season with Springfield. And he's going to get rung up here. Late called strike 3 call. Either way, it's strikeout number 3 for Joey Gartrell. All 3 of his strikeouts have been backwards Ks. As the right-hander's done a good job today. So we'll bring up Trevor Anson. Nobody on, 1 out, top of the 3rd. First pitch to Anson, going to be lined out towards left field. It's through the 5-6 hole for a base hit. And Anson's board with the single. Runner at first, 1 out for the Drifters as they trail 6-2. So bring up a pinch hitter now. So Dane Frazier is going to be removed from the game. So Frazier had the 2 errors, struck out looking in his first at bat, and Coach Richards, he said he had enough of him. He now puts in Dominic Kellman.
Now batting for the Drifters, number 37, Dominic Kellman.
So now Hellman will come up to the plate. Haven't seen too many early adjustments from Coach Richards this season, but so far this is going to be an adjustment. First pitch now to Hellman, away, and it's now 1-0. So Dominic Hellman, one of the most powerful, exciting hitters on this Springfield team. He's committed to the University of Oregon to play his freshman year there next year. First pitch in there, or excuse me, second pitch in there for a strike, and it's now 1-1 to Hellman. Hansen leading off from first. Gartrell ready on the mound. Here's the 1-1. Below the knees of Hellman, and it's now 2-1. Hellman on the year, 10 hits and 48 bats. This is his 15th game overall. 208 average with those numbers. As we'll see a pitch down below the knees, and it's now 3-1. One good thing for Dominic Kellman is that 60% of his hits have been for extra bases. 3 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. 3-1, line to right field, hard hit ball gets through for a single. Hansen going to stop at second. Hellman aboard with a single. Back-to-back hits for the Drifters. 2 men are aboard with 1 out. 11th hit of the year for Dominic Hellman. And a rare non-extra base hit for Dominic Hellman. Man, he hit that hard off the bat. 110 miles per hour on the ground to right field. And this brings up Caden Delosier. First pitch to Delosier. Cuts through it, and it's now 0-1. Delosier so far today, 0 for 1, a fly out towards center field. That ended the first inning. Now coming up for the second time here in the third. The 0-1. Grounded softly, first base side. Gartrell trying to track it down, but it's in no man's land. They throw it back to third, and in there safely was Anson. It was going to be a tough play for Gartrell and Romero, who was at first. Both of them were converging for it. Gartrell just kept on reaching for the ball, but the ball just kept inching its way up the first base line. And Delosier's going to be aboard with an infield swinging bunt. Don't see that often from Delosier, who sprinted down the line. Either way, the bases are loaded. Hellman standing at second, Anson at third, and Delosier over at first. And this brings up Isaiah Thomas. Thomas, the first time he was up, he saw 3 pitches, fouled 2 of them off before getting a called strike 3. Big spot here. First pitch to him, called a strike, 0-1. So Isaiah Thomas, the former Vanderbilt Commodore, he had his first home run since June 6, 2021 against Walla Walla last week. It's a big moment for him. It was a 3-run shot, made it a 1-run game late. Ultimately, though, Springfield left the tying run in scoring position. Thomas, though, that hit in the 9th was a big one. The 0-1 to him, cuts through it. 0-2. That one just below the zone, and Thomas was reaching for it. You can see him taking some practice hacks here. 1 out, bases are loaded. 6-2 the score. Thomas at the plate, and he has a chance to potentially drive in some runs. He'll look at a off-speed pitch away, and it's now 1-2 to him. Gartrell ready on the mound. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Thomas goes down on strikes for the second time today. One's looking and now one swinging, rather. 4th strikeout overall for Gartrell. This brings up Taylor Holder with 2 outs. Bases still loaded. Holder so far reached on an air, although it was a hard hit ball right up the middle. Darby just couldn't get his glove under it. First pitch to Holder, 89 mile per hour, called for a strike, and it's now 0-1 to him. So Holder, the first time facing off against the Corvallis Knights, was impressive for him. 3 for 7. Already off to a good start here. He'll line this one hard, deep right field, giving chase and making the catch along the track is Lavoie, and that'll end the inning. It's another hard hit ball for Taylor Holder, 100 miles per hour off the bat, but Lavoie in right field tracks it down at the track, and the bases are left loaded after 3 singles in a row for Springfield. We head now to the bottom of the third inning, 6-2 Corvallis leading. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road here in Corvallis. So Max Chapman's going to be back on the mound for the Springfield Drifters. So far, he's allowed 6 earned runs, 4 in the first, 2 on the second, on 5 hits. 2 errors overall, though, both of them going to Dane Frazier, and both of those runners that reached on errors ultimately ended up coming in to score. Spencer Scott scored last inning, and then Mason Lee scored in the first. Brady Lavoie, Tanner Smith, Spencer Scott due up. It's the bottom of the order. 7, 8, and 9 for Corvallis, going up against Max Chapman for the second time through the order. First pitch from Chapman, high and away. It's now 1-0. 6-2, Corvallis leading. Springfield scored 2 runs in the top of the second on a 2-run shot for Nate Stevens. Ultimately, though, Corvallis scored 2 runs in the bottom of the second to make it a 4-run game again. Lavoie grounds this one foul, and it's now 1-1. Lavoie, he had a powerful RBI double back in the first. 110 off the bat to left field over Cole Klechner, who now is shaded a little bit further back and left. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Lavoie got him to chase, or Lavoie chased on a pitch high and away, rather. 1-2. The wind's really whipping out towards left field. It's a good sign, especially for these fans, as the weather's beginning to cool down here in Corvallis. Lavoie's going to sky this out towards right field. The wind catches it, keeps it in the ballpark, and Thomas well under it in right field makes the catch. And Lavoie is out on a fly out. First out is recorded here in the bottom of the third. This brings up Tanner Smith, the Oregon State product. DHing today. He is a catcher. So far, 0 for 1 with the fly out to center field. First pitch to Tanner Smith, breaking ball away, and it's now 1-0. So it's always fun having Tanner Smith, the Oregon State catcher, because, well, down the road at the University of Oregon, there's a Tanner Smith that's an outfielder. The 1-0, called a strike, and it's now 1-1. In fact, this past year, I went to the game Oregon State versus Oregon. I'd hosted a radio show for the first hour and then found my way to the ballpark for the second game. And this is going to be drilled out towards right field. Thomas under it in right and gets out Tanner Smith. But in that game, Oregon faced off against Oregon State. Oregon State ultimately won. And the reason they won, it was a sac fly by Tanner Smith, the man that just flew out towards right field. Overall this past year at Oregon State, Smith, though, started 24 games and now gets some summer ball reps with the Corvallis Knights. 2 outs after back-to-back flyouts to right field. This brings up Spencer Scott, the third baseman. Nobody on, 2 outs. 6-2, Corvallis with the lead as Chapman misses well away, 1-0. He's missed with his breaking ball quite a bit, especially on the inside part of the plate for lefties. That one was in the batter's box of the left-handed hitter. 85-mile-per-hour pitch, high and away. That time from Chapman as, again, he misses with the off-speed pitch. Here's the 2-0. It's going to be lined out towards right field. Thomas under it. He'll make the catch, and we get 3 straight flyouts to Isaiah Thomas in right field. 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the third. 6-2 Corvallis leading. We head now to the 4th inning. Springfield coming up to the plate. It's going to be Nate Stevens, Cannon Reeder, and Cole Klechner on the other side of this break here on the Drifters live stream. Joey Gartrell back on the mound for the Corvallis Knights. So far, just the 2 runs, and the 2 runs came off the bat of Nate Stevens, who's stepping up to the plate to lead off here in the 4th. It was a 2-run shot for Nate Stevens, his first home run in the WCL play. Second home run on the year as he hit one in non-league play. First pitch to Nate Stevens here in the 4th, called strike, 0-1. 6-2, Corvallis leading. Max Chapman, a 1-2-3 bottom of the 3rd inning. First time he had done that today. Stevens lines this sharply foul right field side, 0-2 to him. Four hits in his last 7 at-bats. He now has 6 hits in his last 11 at-bats. There's a couple of doubles as well as a home run now. The 0-2, high on Stevens, 1-2. So Stevens finally batting above the Mendoza line, starting to look like his old self. 1-2 away, and it's now 2-2. At the beginning of the year, Nate Stevens was hitting the ball really well, had a couple of big doubles for the Drifters, including that walk-off double. Went into a little bit of a cold streak, but this is a developmental league, and he started to develop pretty well. Pitched down and in, and it's now 3 balls, 2 strikes to Stevens, a full count. He kept working at it. That's what summer ball is all about, getting those reps, and finally the reps are starting to pay off for him. See how he does here. 3-2, he'll chase a pitch away, and Stevens golfed for that one. He'll probably want to get it a little back. Either way, it's a strikeout for Stevens. 5th strikeout for Joey Gartrell, the man on the mound. This will bring up Cannon Reeder. 1 out, nobody on. 6-2, Corvallis with the lead here in the 4th. Reeder so far, he ripped a double to left field. It was a diving play by Spencer Scott at 3rd. Ultimately couldn't catch it. Reeder will drive this deep towards right center field. Advincula sprints over and makes the catch in the alley. You can just see the wheels on Advincula in center field. As he chased it down, Reeder out on a fly out, and quickly 2 are gone on back-to-back pitches.
Now batting for the Drifters, the left fielder, number 8, Cole Klechner.
So this will bring up Cole Klechner, 0 for 1 today with a ground out towards the right side of the infield. He'll stand in to face off against Gartrell for the second time. First pitch to Klechner, down and away, and it's now 1-0. So Cole Klechner, third best batting average on the Springfield Drifters team. Plays at Lane Community College. 1-0, he'll foul it back, and it's now 1-1. Again, he went to Lane Community College because he was supposed to go to Boise State out of high school. Signed to go there, but ultimately COVID happened, and then Boise State folded their baseball program. We'll see a pitch called for a strike, and it's now 1-2 to him. So he had to go elsewhere, and ultimately Boise State, one of their coaches, recommended he went to Lane Community College, and that's where he went. He's had a successful career there as a Titan. 1-2 to Klechner. He'll foul it away. Do it one more time. Klechner this past year at Lane Community College, he batted .357. It was top 5 in the NWAC. He'll reach it, a pitch low, drive it out towards center field, but Avincula under the flyout, and he'll make the catch, and the inning is over. We get back-to-back 1, 2, 3 frames, one from Max Chapman in the bottom of the third, and then one here in the fourth inning for Joey Gartrell. We head to the bottom of the fourth, 6-2, Corvallis with the lead. Top of the order coming up for the Knights on the other half of this break. After a 1-2-3 third inning, Max Chapman's going to be back on the mound for the Springfield Drifters. Really settled in there at the end of the second time through the order. Now we'll have to face off against the order for the third time. Jonah Vincula, Mason Lee, Kiko Romero, 1, 2, and 3 due up for the Corvallis Knights. As Corvallis leads 6-2, here as we begin the bottom of the fourth inning. Shade beginning to creep onto the field. Still a little bit of sun in left and center field. And deep right field for that matter as well. The shade's really creeping in. First pitch here in the bottom of the fourth. Called a strike, 75-mile-per-hour slider there for Chapman. 1-1. Vincula today 0 for 2. Looking for his first hit as he gets buckled up and a called strike. Quickly he gets behind 0-2. So Vincula, who's batting over .500 the first series against Springfield, had 2 runs and RBI, but so far today hitless. The 0-2 bounces in, and it's now 1-2. Not a lot of action in the Springfield bullpen, although there is a right-hander starting to warm up. Chapman, his pitch count is getting pretty deep here in the fourth inning after a long first and second. Vincula grounds this right back up to Chapman. He'll catch it and then underhand it at first. And Vincula is retired for the third time today. It's a 1-3 ground out as the PFPs pay off for Chapman. So we'll bring up Mason Lee, the second baseman, 0 for 2 today, although he reached on an error back in the first and came around to score. It was a soft ground ball to the left side. Dane Frazier just threw it a little left of the first base bag. Got past Caden Delosier there. First pitch to Mason Lee here in the fourth inning. Down and in, 1-0. Mason Lee, originally from Culver City, California. He's a matador at Cal State Northridge. He'll lift this one in the air in the infield. Dominic Kellman calls everybody off and catches it in the center of the diamond. And the out is recorded, an F5 pop-up. Looked like Anson and Jalen Ray were both talking to the young Hellman. Hellman called everybody off, but it was well closer to Jalen Ray or Trevor Anson in the center of the diamond. Hellman, though, sprinted over from the hot corner at third, made the catch. The out was recorded, that's all that matters. I think the more experienced players are giving Hellman a earful. This is going to be a pop-up for Kiko Romero in the infield. Jalen Ray, the shortstop, calls it off this time, and he'll make the catch in the infield. Back-to-back infield flies after the infield ground out. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings for Max Chapman. We head now to the fifth inning. 6-2, Corvallis with the lead. You're watching the Springfield Drifters here on the road in Corvallis. So after 4 innings, Joey Gartell's day is over. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, just one of them was earned. No walks for the right-hander, and 5 strikeouts overall. He faced the order 2 times through, and that results in a pitching change. This brings up Neil Feist, the right-hander from El Camino College. So Feist is gonna come into the game from El Camino, as the right-hander comes in for the 16th time this season. He has a 1-1 record with a 2.36 ERA, 26 and 2/3 inning pitch in those 15 games prior, 20 strikeouts, just 6 walks overall, and he's had scoreless outings in each of his last 3 appearances. He threw 2 innings against Portland, Cowlitz, and Wenatchee, and in all those games, those 2 innings, he did not allow a single earned run. In fact, he only allowed 1 hit against Wenatchee, and that was pretty much it. He's been hard to hit. He's had 3 strikeouts during that stretch. We'll see how he does here today against the Springfield Drifters. Springfield trailing 6-2 as we begin here in the top of the 5th inning. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings for Max Chapman on the mound, hoping to give his team a chance offensively. We'll see what Jalen Ray, Trevor Anson, and Dominic Kellman do at the top of the order. First pitch to Jalen Ray, high and inside. It's now 1-0 to Ray. Ray today, a single back in the first, out on a fielder's choice on the next batter in Trevor Anson, and then he struck out looking back in the third. Here's the 1-0 to Ray. That one outside. It's now 2-0 from Feist. Very similar pitchers, Feist and Gartrell. Both right-handers, both wear high 30s numbers as Ray sees a pitch called for a strike, 2-1. Gartrell, he's 36. Feist, he's 37. They're both built pretty similarly. Either way, it's a new man on the mound. 2 balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch to Ray. Got jammed inside as he dribbles it down the third base line. Scott picks it up at the hot corner and fires across and gets Jalen Ray by half a step. Just a little grounder for Jalen Ray, a 5-3 ground out, and it'll bring up Trevor Anson with nobody on. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. 6-2, Corvallis with the lead. 4 runs in the first inning, 2 runs in the second inning for Corvallis. Since then, back-to-back 1-2-3 innings as Chapman started to settle in. Springfield, though, looking for some offense. Just 3 hits so far. Pitch down away, 1-0. Rather not 3 hits, but they had 3 hits in the third, and they were all left stranded. They have had some opportunities, just haven't been able to execute. 1-0 inside, and it's now 2-0. You got to think about the bases loaded with 1 out in that third inning. They couldn't score any runs. Isaiah Thomas, 5-hole hitter, he struck out swinging, and then Taylor Holder lined it hard out towards right field. Anson fouls this away, and it's now 2-1. Anson's reached base safely both times he's come up to the plate. Got aboard on that fielder's choice in the first, and then singled his last time up. He was one of the 3 singles in that third inning. As the 2-1, he'll ground to the right side, past the diving Kiko Romero at first base. And Anson's aboard with his second straight single, 3 times reaching base safely for Anson. Another multi-hit day for the second baseman, and it'll bring up Dominic Kellman. Trevor Anson really starting to hit the ball better. Now has 2 hits today. Now has 6 hits in his last 11 at-bats. Not a bad stretch for him. So here's Hellman so far, 1 for 1 with a single to right field. As he looks at a pitch inside, called for a strike, 0-1. So Hellman, that was only his 5th single of the year. He has 6 extra base hits and just 5 singles. Slugging percentage coming in today was .438. Inside, it's now 1-1 to Dominic Kellman. Last time we were here, Dominic Kellman was involved in a weird play where he stepped over the third base bag and they called him out in the 9th inning of that 14-2 blowout victory for Corvallis. Hellman gets under this one, pops it in the air towards left field. Briley Knight fighting off the sun, makes the catch in left field. Anson back to first, and Hellman into the dugout. This will bring up Caden Delosier. Runner at first, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. 6-2, Corvallis with the lead. Delosier digging in for the 3rd time today. The last time he came up, it was just a dribbler down the first base line, and he beat it out for an infield single. This pitch gets past the catcher and Ryan Stafford. Heading over to second is Anson as the pitch was high and away off the mid of the catcher Stafford. And now runner in scoring position for the Drifters. 2 outs, top of the 5th. Delosier with a chance for an RBI here. So Springfield with another chance to potentially score some runs, and with the runner moved over to second. Second baseman Mason Lee standing into right field. Romero playing deep at first with the powerful Delosier at the plate. He'll look at a pitch called for a strike, and it's now 1-1. Delosier, he was a late addition to the Springfield team too. He had played earlier in the season for the Bend Elks. In fact, he played a couple of times against Springfield when he was a member of the Elks. Now he gets to play for Springfield. The 1-1 outside to Delosier. That's now 2-1. It's also his 3rd WCL team because last year he played for the Walla Walla Sweets. Him and Julian Hernandez were teammates there for Walla Walla last year in the WCL. I think all the gear would be really cool down. Here's the 2-1. Delosier lines this hard towards left field, but Briley Knight catches it on the line drive. Only had to move a few steps over to his right. That'll do it for the 5th inning, top of the 5th that is. Trevor Anson, just a single and left stranded at second. We head now to the bottom of the 5th inning as we're halfway through this game. 6-2 Corvallis with the lead, and you're watching the Drifters on the road here on the Drifters live stream. Max Chapman, he's coming out to the mound for the 5th. Bottom of the 5th inning, and after back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Max Chapman, Coach Tommy Richards decides to send the southpaw out one more time and set to face off against the meat of the order, Briley Knight, Ryan Stafford, Xander Darby, 4, 5, and 6. First pitch from Chapman here in the 5th is going to be called a strike, 0-1 to Briley Knight. Off-speed pitch that just dropped into the zone for Chapman. And Knight's now down 0-1. The 0-1 pitch, Knight showed bunt, pulled it back, but it was called a strike anyways, and it's now 0-2 to Knight, the left fielder. Knight had an RBI single in the first, hit by a pitch back in the second, up for the 3rd time now. Here's the 0-2. Knight gets jammed up, fouls it away. Do it one more time. At Knight, he got into a little bit of a battle with Chapman. Him and Jonah Advincula, both of them had a high pitch at bats. Knight, though, ultimately was pegged on a off-speed pitch that got away from Chapman. Hit him square on the back. And this is golfed at, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3 for Chapman, his first today. Looked like Knight may have gotten a piece of it. Ultimately, he did not. Chapman gets him to go on the breaking ball, and the first out is recorded here in the 5th. So bring up Ryan Stafford, the catcher. He was the last batter to get aboard safely for Corvallis. Since then, 8 up, 8 down. Pitch misses away, and it's now 1-0 to Stafford here in the 5th. He had a sac fly RBI hit in the first, and then a 2-run double back in the second. Now standing in for the 3rd time. The 1-0 fouled away right field side, and it's 1-1. Chapman's really started to settle in. He had those back-to-back hit-by pitches with Romero and Knight. Ultimately, that loaded the bases. He faced off against Stafford. Stafford ripped the double to left, but since then, hasn't allowed a runner on. Off speed, breaks away. It's now 2-1 to Stafford. Stafford now up to 7 RBIs on the season. This is only his 6th start of the year. 2-1 inside, and it's now 3-1. So the young catcher going into his sophomore year at Cal Poly. He has an average of over an RBI per game in his starts. Here's the 3-1, and that's high and away, and that'll be a walk. First walk issued today for Max Chapman after picking up his first strikeout. And it puts a runner at first with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Corvallis leading 6-2, and this brings up Xander Darby, the infielder. We've seen Darby in this series completely all around the field. We saw him at third. We saw him at second. We've seen him at shortstop. Really just puts the title to the name infielder. As he'll stand in, the first pitch is going to be taken for a ball. Sprinting down to second was Stafford, the catcher, and I think Stevens was not prepared for that one. He had to eat it up, and it's a stolen base for Stafford, the catcher. Runner in scoring position, 1 out, Darby at the plate. Pitch comes high and inside, and it's now 2-0. So after striking out Briley Knight, Chapman's allowed a walk to Stafford, and now Stafford standing at second. He has a 2-0 count to Darby. Grounded foul, and it's now 2-1 to Darby. Darby today singled back in the first, came in to score, and then lined out in his last at-bat in the second. Has a chance to extend this Corvallis lead as they're leading by 4. It's been the largest lead today for Corvallis as they led by 4 in the first. Springfield cut it to 2 in the second, and then they pushed it back to 4 also in the second. Darby grounds this to the left side. It gets through the hole. Picking it up in left is Klechner, and he'll throw it in, but it's not going to be in time. This is an RBI single for Xander Darby, and that he does extend the lead to more than 4. It's their largest lead today. It's 5, 7-2. First hit for Corvallis since that double from Stafford all the way back in the second. Overall, their 6th hit today. It's an RBI single for Darby. This brings up Brady Lavoie. Pitch bounces in, gets past Nate Stevens behind the plate, and heading over to second is Darby, and now another runner in scoring position for the Corvallis Knights. So Lavoie coming up today, had an RBI double back in the first, ripped a ball to left, then flew out in the third. He has a chance for his second RBI today with Darby standing at second. Chapman throws a pitch high and away, and it's now 2-0 to Lavoie. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Chapman, and that bounces in. So it's 3-0 to Lavoie. And it seems like Chapman, ever since getting that strikeout to Briley Knight, he seems unsettled. Allowed a walk to Stafford, got behind early to Darby, and now Lavoie ahead 3-0. We'll see if he gets the green light. Here's the pitch from Chapman. He does get the green light and lines it towards center field. It drops right in front of Cannon Reeder, and then it goes right over his head. Coming in to score is Darby. Heading over to first is Lavoie, as he's going to go back to first after going halfway in between the bags, and Reeder was able to crowd the ball. Either way, back-to-back RBI singles for the Corvallis Knights. This one, Brady Lavoie, his second RBI today, and overall his 18th RBI of the season. 8-2, and now Keith Essler going to go talk things over with Chapman. This may be it for him. And Hessler taps him on the shoulder, and he'll head back into the dugout. Lavoie will go back to the dugout as well, and that'll do it for Max Chapman. We'll step aside and take a break. We'll let you know who's coming out of the pen on the other side of this break. You're watching the Springfield Drifters here on the road in Corvallis as they trail 8-2. Keith Essler goes out there, takes the ball from Max Chapman. Chapman, 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 8 runs. 2 of them were earned. That's it. 2 of the 8 runs were earned. 1 walk and 1 strikeout for the left-hander, and that'll pave the way for Diego Chavez. Keith Essler, he's been the pitching coach for the Springfield Drifters this whole year in his inaugural season. Really exciting news for him today. He was just named the head coach at Everett Community College. He had prior been the pitching coach at Everett Community College and now just got named the head coach there today. Really exciting stuff for Keith Essler, and we're so excited for him here in the Drifters family. So Diego Chavez is going to be the man they turn to in this situation. 1 out, bottom of the 5th. 8-2, Corvallis with the lead. The Knights have scored 2 runs so far here in this 5th inning, and they're looking for more. Tanner Smith going to come up to the plate with Lavoie standing over at first. Chavez making his 13th appearance of the year. Majority of them coming out of the bullpen. First pitch to Tanner Smith. Down and away, and it's now 1-0. So Chavez, he would come out of the game as a bullpen arm at the beginning part of the year. Then he got moved into an opener-type role with Dylan O'Connor when O'Connor was on the Drifters. Now back into the bullpen. Pitch inside. It's now 2-0 to Tanner Smith, who today is 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts. But Chavez got moved to that opener role, would throw about an inning or two before getting taken out for Dylan O'Connor, who would come into the game out of the bullpen. Chavez throws a pitch high and away, and it's now 3-0 to Tanner Smith. Overall on the year, 17 and a third inning pitch. No wins, no losses, a 3.63 ERA. As a runner at first here, a little bit of a tricky situation as he'll throw a strike on the 3-1. Or 3-0 rather. 3-1 is the count. Saw the green light from Brady Lavoie on the 3-0 count in the last at-bat. He singled in a run. Tanner Smith fouls away the 3-1, and it's now full 3-2. I haven't seen too many teams just swing at 3-0 counts. Springfield's a team that is very cautious. It's only happened twice the entire season. Not sure about Corvallis, but it definitely paid off for them there. Chavez gets a strikeout looking. After Tanner Smith started head rather, 3-0, Chavez fired back with a couple of pitches that were fouled away, and then Smith goes down looking. Called strike 3. First strikeout for Diego Chavez. So bring up Spencer Scott. '17th strikeout of the season for Chavez. So Scott at the plate, runner at first. 2 outs, bottom of the 5th, 8-2 the score. Chavez fires in a strike, and it's now 0-1 to Spencer Scott. Chavez starting to hit the zone after missing on his first 3 pitches. Scott today reached on an error and came around to score in the 2nd. Flew out in his last at-bat in the 3rd. That was a part of a 1-2-3 inning for Max Chapman. Here's the 0-1 as the runner goes, fouled away by Scott. Having to head back to first is Lavoie, and it's now 0-2 to Spencer Scott. Scott, originally from Portland, Oregon, decided to stay close to home and play his collegiate baseball for the Portland Pilots. Teammates there with KJ Rufo, a pitcher for the Springfield Drifters. There's several Portland Pilots in the WCL. Here's the 0-2. Owns high. Stevens trying to backpick to first. Sliding in safely was Lavoie at first. Delozier there with the tag. The pitch missed, so it's a 1-2 count. 2 outs. Scott at the plate. Chavez looking for that final strike or final out to get out of it. 8-2, Corvallis with the lead. 2 runs so far have come in this inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Grounded softly, left side. Jalen Ray picks it up at shortstop. Underhands it to Anson at second base, who's on the bag for the force. And the inning is over. 2 runs come in on 2 hits overall, as well as a walk. That'll do it for the bottom of the 5th inning. We head now to the 6th. 8-2, Corvallis with the lead. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road here in Corvallis. So happy to be providing you Drifters baseball on the road this season. So sorry we couldn't make the trip to Walla Walla, but we're so happy to be back with you here today in Corvallis. Stick around. We have the 6th inning coming up. Isaiah Thomas, Taylor Holder, Nate Stevens due up for the Drifters, 5, 6, and 7. Neil Theis back on the mound for the Corvallis Knights. just allowed one hit that last inning to Trevor Anson as he was left stranded at second. Corvallis, though, they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning on 2 hits, and they extended their lead. It is 8-2. Here's Isaiah Thomas leading things off. First pitch to Thomas, down and away, 1-0. Isaiah Thomas today, 0 for 2, a strikeout looking and a strikeout swinging. Looking to avoid the sombrero here. Here's the 1-0 to Thomas, grounds it foul, third base side, and it's now 1-1. So Feist came in for Gartrell, and Gartrell, he had a solid outing. The 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs. Only one of them earned, and it was the Nate Stevens homer. Other than that, he was pretty stellar. Pitch away, and it's now 2-1 to Isaiah Thomas. He had a 1-2-3 4th inning, and I was a bit surprised that they decided to pull him for the hand of Feist here in the 5th, and now 6th, rather. Either way, they thought it was enough. Thomas crushes this to center field, and it's off the top of the wall. Avincula picks it up in center field, but Thomas digging in, standing at second. That was a hard hit ball, dead center, 106 off the bat, and ultimately it traveled 402 feet. Just couldn't get over the wall, and Thomas is aboard with the double, breaks the strikeout streak. So Isaiah Thomas, he now has 2 doubles on the year. Overall, his 6th hit of the season with Springfield, getting back into shape. First pitch to Taylor Holder, called the strike, 0-1. Holder today, he's hit some hard hit balls. Once he reached on an air back in the 2nd, hard hit grounder up the middle, and then flew one deep to right field, but Brady Lavoie tracked it down on the track. Thomas is going to try to steal to hit and run. Holder flares it out to right field. Lavoie under it. Thomas sprinting back to second. Lavoie guns it to 2. The throw just in time. They doubled up Isaiah Thomas, and 2 outs on 1 pitch. It's the 2nd time this season that Isaiah Thomas has been running on a hit-and-run situation and has been doubled up. It happened in Cowlitz, and now it happens here in Corvallis. 2 are gone and nobody on, and this is Nate Stevens coming up to the plate. Official F7-6 double play, and here's Nate Stevens as he cuts through the first pitch, 0-1. Stevens had that 2-run home run back in the 2nd. It was his 6th hit in his past 11 at-bats, now 6 hits in his past 12 after striking out in the 4th. Sees a pitch inside, high, 1-1. He's on a 4-game hit streak. He's been swinging the bat probably as good as anybody on this Drifters team. It's below the knees this time, 2-1. For him, it's just staying low with that swing, trying to drive the ball wherever it goes. His home run opposite field. Felt like Stevens a lot of the time was trying to pull the ball, doing a lot better, just staying a little bit lower and compact in his swing. Counts now 3-1 as that pitch missed away. Stevens hoping to keep the inning alive with Cannon Reeder on deck. 8-2, Corvallis with the lead. Top of the 6th, Stevens watches a pitch bounce in, and he's aboard with a walk. So here is Cannon Reeder.
For the Drifters, the center fielder, number 7, Cannon Reeder.
Steve-O at first, 2 outs, top of the 6th. It's a 6-run lead for Corvallis. They scored 4 runs in the first, led by 4. Springfield cut it to 2 in the top of the 2nd. Ultimately, though, Corvallis has been able to stretch it since. First pitch to Cannon Reeder away, and it's 1-0. Reeder doubled his first time up in the 2nd before flying out back in the 4th. Up for the 3rd time today. Here's the 1-0 Reeder. Rounds it, third base side, left of the bag, foul. Really awesome opportunity for Cannon Reeder to play here in the WCL. He was originally potentially going to be a Corvallis Knight. He said up until about a month to go into the WCL season They told him, hey, how would you like to go play for Springfield? He looked at the facilities and said, all right, I'll be okay with that. As he'll line this one up the middle, and it gets down for a base hit. Stopping at second is Stevens, and staying at first is Reeder. It's a 2-out single for Reeder, his second hit today. Overall, Springfield's 9th hit of the game. Just haven't been able to score runs, just 2.
Batting for the Drifters, the left fielder, number 8, Cole Klechner.
This will bring up Cole Klechner. Stevens standing at second, Reeder at first. 2 outs in this 8-2 ball game in the top of the 6th. Klechner today 0 for 2, a ground out and fly out. Fouls back the first pitch. 0-1. Just barely missed it that time as it went straight back behind the screen, and normally that's how you tell you just got under a pitch. A 1, Feist is ready, and the pitch comes in for a strike. 0-2. Big opportunity for Klechner here. The Drifters have had opportunity to score some runs. They have a runner in scoring position with Stevens. See here, Klechner gets jammed up, grounds it softly up the middle. Picking it up at shortstop is Darby. He'll throw to first, but it's off the bag is Romero. So Romero was off the bag just a little bit. Wasn't too much. Either way, Klechner's aboard on the air. It's the second error for Corvallis, which is a rare error because this team is currently first in the WCL in defense. And we'll see if Springfield can let the air come to them and they can take advantage of it. Bases are loaded. And here's Jalen Ray, the leadoff hitter. 8-2 the score, top of the 6th. 2 outs, bases loaded. First pitch to Jalen Ray. Away outside, 1-0. Jalen Ray singled his first time up back in the first inning when he led things off with an opposite field single. Since then, a strikeout and ground out. He'll line this out towards right field, and it drops down for a hit. Stevens is going to score. They're going to wave Reeder. The throw from right from Lavoie. Well in time, but it is out as Reeder slid past the bag, and then tagging him was the catcher, Stafford. Just 1 run on the RBI single for Jalen Ray. Overall in the inning, 3 hits for Springfield, just the 1 run. But Reeder's out at the plate, and that'll end at the top of the 6th inning. We head now to the bottom of the 6th. It is a 8-3 game now. It's a 5-run lead for Corvallis. Coming up on the other hand of this break for Corvallis is going to be the top of the order. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road. Diego Chavez coming out for the Drifters. So the Drifters were able to use the air to their advantage. They were able to score 1 run on the RBI hit for Jalen Ray, but Cannon Reeder was gunned out at the plate, and he was the final out of that top of the 6th inning. It is an 8-3 game now after that run came in to score, and that'll bring up Jonah Advincula, the leadoff hitter for the Corvallis Knights. as they lead by 5. Fourth time through the order, and this will be the first time Advincula faces off against Diego Chavez. Advincula looking for success against Chavez after going 0 for 3 against Chapman. Groundouts in the infield and 1 pop-up in the infield. First pitch from Chavez, away, 1-0. So we mentioned Advincula, he'll be heading off to Washington State next year. He'll be a Cougar after a successful past 3 years at Redlands. High and away again from Chavez, and it's now 2-0 to Advincula, who's a D3 baseball first team All-West region this past year. And a line this towards center field. The Reader slicing into the alleyway makes the catch on the run, and Advincula is retired for the 4th time today. This will bring up Mason Lee, the second baseman. So far today, 0 for 3 with the error that he reached on back in the first and came around to score on.
Number 3, Mason Lee.
First pitch away to Mason Lee, and it's now 1-0. Chavez ready, the windup, the 1-0. Lee golf set, and it's now 1-1. So it's a little bit interesting. As of right now, they have it on the scoreboard here, 8-4. I'm not sure where that 4th run came in. I'll have to go talk to somebody during the break. As Lee checks his swing. Did he go around? He did. It's now 1-2. Here's the 1-2. Fouled back. Man, that was a weird sequence. So what happened was the first base umpire said he went around. Then the home plate umpire, he signaled 2-1, 2-1, screamed that. And then as Diego Chavez was in his windup, he screamed, actually, 1-2, 1-2. Very interesting stuff. As the 1-2 is going to be grounded to the left side. Hellman cuts it off at third. Sidearms it to first. It's off the bag, but Delosier catches it and tags out Mason Lee for the second out here in the bottom of the 6th. Seen that a little bit from Dominic Kellman at the third base position. He's had a couple of errors where he's cut off balls and then thrown it a little bit off bags. That time he's communicating with Jalen Ray, who was coming over from the shortstop side. I think Hellman's just trying to find his place in the infield and work cohesively. It's all part of the developmental experience here in the WCL. First pitch to Romero, foul tipped, and it's 0-1. I think that's the great thing about this WCL season is you're playing games pretty much every single day. In fact, Springfield, they're going to have games every day for the next 13. This bounces in. It's now 1-1. It went over Stevens, hit the umpire, and now Romero's going to come back into the box. At Springfield, they're going to be playing 13 straight games in 13 days. So for a guy like Dominic Kellman, who's been working on his defense here in the WCL, it is a developmental league. I think that 13 games is going to give him a great opportunity to try to improve himself as Romero lines this to right field, just past Taylor Holder. Holder picks it up in the corner. Romero digging to 2, and he gets there safely. It's a 2-out double for Kiko Romero, his second hit today. And overall, his 6th double of the season. And now runners in scoring position for the Corvallis Knights as they lead 8-3. And yes, they did finally, after that last hit with Romero, they removed one of the runs that came in, and it is 8-3 on the scoreboard now. So I won't have to go talk to them about the 8-4 score, because it is 8-3, but Briley Knight has a chance to make this 9-3 or more, as he has Romero standing at second and himself at the plate with 2 outs. Knight fouls back the pitch. It's 0-1 to him. So Briley Knight, he had an RBI single in the first, and since then he was hit by a pitch and struck out swinging. Looking to bounce back in this at-bat. His return to the WCL after playing last year in the Cape Cod League. Chavez ready at the waist. Looks back towards second. Out of the plate, back to second again. Kicks and fires the pitch that's fouled away by Knight. And it's now 0-2. Briley Knight, he was teammates with Taylor Holder, the right fielder for the Springfield Drifters in high school at Crescent Valley High School. Awesome to see them both succeeding here in the WCL. The 0-2 going to be lined out towards right field past the diving Trevor Anson. They were waving Romero, and he'll come in without a throw as it's cut off by Delosier at first base, and Briley Knight does make it a 9-3 game after his second RBI hit today.
Onward we go. Here's your catcher now from
9-3, Corvallis with the lead. This will bring up Ryan Stafford. Runner at first, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning. Stafford so far today had an RBI double back in the second. Walked in his last at bat and came in to score. Prior to that, a sac fly. First pitch from Chavez, down and away, 1-0. So Stafford today, 3 RBIs and a run in his first 3 at bats. Not a bad way to start your day. 1-0, that one's high. It's now 2-0 to Stafford. Stafford this past year at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, he was a freshman there, and he started 58 games. He had a 3rd best batting average on the team with a .321 average. Impressive stuff as a freshman. He'll ground this one sharply to Anson at second base. He'll pick it up and fire it over to Delosier at first, and that'll do it for the bottom of the 6th inning. Ultimately, though, 2 straight 2-out hits for the Corvallis Knights, a double by Romero and a single by Briley Knight. That scores a run, and it is 9-3 as we head to the 7th. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road here in Corvallis. 2, 3, and 4 in the order coming up for the Drifters. Seventh inning, and Neil Theis is going to be back on the mound for the Corvallis Knights as they're leading at 9-3. Theis gave up a run last inning, but Corvallis answered that run with a run of their own in the bottom of the 6th. They were able to extend the lead back to 6 runs. It's going to be Trevor Anson, Dominic Kellman, Caden Delosier coming up for Springfield, facing off against the right-hander in Feist. Weather's cooled down all the way down to 80 degrees here as the first pitch to Anson's going to hit him on the shoulder, and he'll be aboard with a hit by pitch to start here in the 7th. Anson has reached first safely in every single at-bat today. Got aboard with the fielder's choice play in the first, back-to-back singles in the 3rd and 5th, and now a hit by pitch here in the 7th. And it brings up Dominic Kellman, the 3rd baseman, so far today. 1 for 2 with a single and a fly out. And he'll fly this one away, 0-1. He came into the game for Dane Frazier after Frazier struck out looking and then had 2 errors in the field. Coach Richards had enough, ultimately decided to put Hellman in the top of the 3rd to pinch hit. And now here he is at the plate for the 3rd time today. Hellman looks at a pitch away, and it's now 1-1. Sun is completely set behind the stands, so there's no sun on the field right now. Starting to get towards a beautiful sunset. 2-1 to Hellman as that pitch missed low and away. I'm sure these players are appreciative that the sun's gone, as it was 95 degrees at first pitch. Cooling down to 80, still a little warm. Hellman launches this towards left field deep, but it's slicing foul and landing foul. 2-2. Yeah, that one jammed him up inside. You can see him try to shake it off with his hand. It's a big bat he's holding, 35-inch bat. I think he's the largest on the team. I don't know anybody that swings with a 35-inch bat other than Dominic Kellman. Either way, that one caught it a little bit too inside. Here's the 2-2. Hellman inside, grounded at foul, third base side. We'll do it one more time. He doesn't even choke on the bat either. It's just a 35-inch bat. It's ridiculous. I mean, I guess if you're 6'6", you can swing that. Either way. Here's the 2-2. Looked at above the letters, and it's now 3-2. Anson leading off from first. Nobody out here in the top of the seventh. 9-3 Corvallis with the lead. Payoff pitch to Hellman. Just got a piece of it. Fouls it back, and we'll do it again. Seems like this season for Springfield has been a story of big innings. And that first inning was 4 runs for Corvallis. It got the Drifters behind early. They're hoping to battle their way back. They have some outs to work with here in the seventh. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Feist ready. He's taking his time. He'll throw back to first, and Anson's in there safely. Feist probably held the ball set for about 5 seconds before he fired it over towards first. Now will come set again at the waist. Hellman awaiting the 3-2 pitch. And Hellman just softly lines it over Romero at first, but it's sliced foul, and it's another 3-2 pitch awaiting. Looked like a defensive swing for Hellman there, just reaching down low. Tried to go opposite field, which we haven't seen much of from Hellman. Either way, just sliced right of the chalk. 3 balls, 2 strikes, top of the seventh. Nobody out, runner at first. Here's the pitch to Hellman. And that one misses the zone. And now heading over to second is Anson. Hellman to first. Nobody out, and it'll bring up Caden DeLozier.
Now batting for the Drifters, the first baseman, number 28, Caden DeLozier.
DeLozier today, a single back on the third. Other than that, 2 flyouts. 9-3 the score as DeLozier hits this ball deep to center field. Advincula at the track, jumps up, makes the catch. Anson was tagging at second, and he'll head over to third. It was a nice leaping play in center field by Advincula. It's a fly out for DeLozier. He hit it hard. It was 105 off the bat. Just didn't go as far as he wanted it to go. 390, and ultimately Advincula made the catch. And this will bring up a new hitter for the Drifters. It's going to be Luke Brown. So this is the first look at Luke Brown for this Drifters team. He's going to be pinch hitting here in the seventh. Hellman at first, Anson at third. 1 out. Here's the pitch to Brown, and we'll see a pitch called for a strike, 0-1. So there's several players that were added to the lineup for Springfield ahead of today's game, and Brown was one of them. It's always interesting, especially towards the later part of this year, as Brown rips this foul. 0-2 to him. In this later part of the year, you have a lot of players that are leaving because their coaches at their colleges tell them to leave, or they're just going back to spend some time with their family, at least before their college career. But he'll come in now for Thomas, and he'll hit this one in the air foul. Third base side, rather. We'll do the 0-2 again. So Thomas's day is done after that double, and then he got doubled up on the hit and run situation. And here's Luke Brown. The 0-2 pitch. Outside, 1-2 to Brown. Brown, he's wearing number 20, meaning that'll do it for Ben Parker this year as Brown flares this to left field, and it drops in left field for a base hit. Looked like Briley Knight was coming over. He was charging in and then ultimately just pulled up, let it drop in front of him. Anson came in to score. He was looking to tag either way. And Luke Brown in his first day and first hit as a Springfield Drifter, and first at bat rather, he gets a hit, and it's an RBI hit for that. Brings in Trevor Anson, and it's now 9-4. Kellman advances over to second on the play. And that'll bring up Taylor Holder, and now Feist is going to have a mound meeting here. So Anson led off with a hit by pitch. Able to advance over to second after Dominic Kellman's walk. He then advanced to third on the fly out from Delosier and then came in to score on the RBI hit from Luke Brown. Mound meeting happening right now with Feist. He's given up 1 run in each of the last 2 innings. 1 run in the 6th, 1 run in the 7th. Only has 1 out here in the 7th inning. Springfield has a chance for more. Taylor Holder is coming up to the plate. He's had some hard hit balls. So he had the air that he reached on back in the 2nd. It was a grounder up the middle that was just a little sharp, but Darby couldn't cut over or come over and cut it off. They marked it an error on the play. Holder was aboard. He ripped one to right field over 110 off the bat. Ultimately, he was caught by Lavoie and right on the track as he jumped up for it. And then he lined one towards right again. Lavoie caught the ball and then threw it into second and doubled up Isaiah Thomas. And here's Holder for the 4th time. Flies this one in the air, foul territory. Romero makes the catch but collides with his catcher. Romero hangs on. Stafford and him were converging. Neither one of them called it off. Romero made the catch, smacked in to Stafford. Either way, he hangs on, and it's a fly out in foul territory for Taylor Holder.
Now batting for the Drifters, the pitcher number 18, Nate Stevens.
So this will bring up Nate Stevens. Had that 2-run home run back in the 2nd. Struck out in his next at-bat after that. Walked his last time up last inning. First pitch to Stevens. Catches the zone at the chest, 0-1. Stevens came around to score last inning. Has a chance for another RBI here. With Hellman standing at second. Over at first is Brown. Stevens lines this towards left center field. Advincula sprinting into the alleyway, makes the catch as his hat flies off, and that'll do it for Stevens and the Drifters in the top of the 7th inning. Overall, a base hit for Luke Brown. It brought in Trevor Anson, who's got things started with a hit by pitch. Just a 1 hit for Springfield as 2 runners are left stranded. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It is a 9-4 game. You're watching the Springfield Drifters here on the road in Corvallis. So it's a new pitcher on the mound. It's going to be the right-hander, number 39, Tyson Willis. This is going to be his first ever appearance as a Springfield Drifter. So similar to Luke Brown, who is now in right field. This is his first day. We got some clarification. Luke Brown, he goes to Cal State East Bay. And Tyson Willis, he goes to Everett Community College. So he comes over with Keith Hessler, and he'll set to face off against Xander Darby. First pitch here in the bottom of the 7th. Misses inside low. 1-0 from Willis. So Willis comes into the game for Diego Chavez. 1 2/3 innings pitched for Chavez. 2 hits, 1 earned run. 1 strikeout, no walks for Chavez. Here's the 1-0 from Willis, and that's high above the letters for Darby. 2-0. Darby today had an RBI single in his last at-bat. Came around to score in the 5th. 2 runs and 2 singles today. That's sandwiched in between a line out. The 2-0 in there for a strike. 2-1. So Tyson Willis follows Keith Hessler from Everett Community College, where he'll now be coached by Hessler as the head coach after Hessler was just named that position today. Ball bounces in, 3-1. Overall in the year at Everett, he appeared in 6 games, through 6 innings, allowed 5 runs on 5 hits, 8 walks, and 8 strikeouts. 3 balls, 1 strike to Darby. Nobody on and nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th, and Darby's going to be aboard with the walk as Willis's 3-1 pitch misses inside, and Darby's aboard for the 3rd time today. So this will bring up Brady Lavoie so far today. 2 for 3 with the double and 2 RBIs. Has a runner at first, nobody out here against Tyson Willis, the right-hander. Trevor Anson, the second baseman, shifts a little over to the left with double play depth. Here's the pitch from Willis, and it's grounded right back up towards him. They'll throw it to 2 to Anson. They get 1 there. High throw at first, but the stretch is made by Delosier. Corvallis is going to argue this one. I believe the home plate umpire is going to say he was off the bag, and he is. So Lavoie is going to be safe at first. Almost a really excellent double play. It would have been a 1-4-3 double play. Instead, it's a ground out 1-4 double play. Or not double play, 1-4 fielder's choice, excuse me. There was a lot that happened there, and they did officially just declare him safe at first. So Darby's out at second. Lavoie at first after reaching on the fielder's choice, and here's Tanner Smith, the DH. 0 for 3 today, 2 flyouts and a strikeout looking. As Lavoie at first, and again, the Drifters trying to turn 2. Anson stowing well to the second base bag. First pitch away, and it's now 1-0 to Tanner Smith. So Tyson Willis, his first game as a Springfield Drifter, gets to work here. His team trailing by 5 in the bottom of the 7th. Fouled away by Tanner Smith, the Oregon State product, and it's 1-1. I think it's awesome for Willis that he gets to come down here, work with Hessler as his pitching coach, and then go back up to Everett and work with Hessler as his full-time head coach. Coach Richards, he's put together a really great staff here in Springfield. Willis ready for the 1-1. Here's the pitch as Lavoie's going to go. Smith fouls it away, and we'll do 1-2 now. You got Mike Takamori, an assistant coach from Lynn Benton Community College. He's pretty well connected and well respected amongst these players. Jordan Sunich, who's been pretty much the right-hand man to Coach Richards. Richards mentored Sunich when Sunich was growing up in Bend, and then ultimately that mentorship has turned into a brotherly bond, and the two are now coaching together at Bushnell. Here's the 1-2. That one's down and away. 2-2 to Tanner Smith now. Then you get Keith Hessler as the pitching coach, and Hessler was just named the head coach at Everett Community College, so a little under the radar pickup for Coach Richards and a really young, promising, talented staff. 2-2, Lavoie's going to go, and it gets past the catcher. It's going to be Brandon Reed, I believe, behind the plate, and that one was high and away. So Lavoie is going to head over to second, and it is going to be Brandon Reed behind the plate. So Reed, he is the Bushnell University catcher. He'll come in for Nate Stevens. Stevens ended up flying out last inning, and so they put in Reed this inning. So Nate Stevens' day is done. Lavoie, a big jump around second, really just toying with Willis, but a swing and a miss for Tanner Smith. It'll be a strikeout for Tyson Willis. Now 2 are gone. So after a walk, there was a 1-4 fielder's choice play and then a strikeout from Tyson Willis. And here's Spencer Scott, the 9-hole hitter. 9-4 Corvallis with the lead, bottom of the 7th inning. Runner in scoring position for the Knights. Willis on the mound. Throws high and away, 1-0. Willis, quite the size too. 6'4". A little similar to Eli Holbert, the pitcher for the Drifters, also from Everett Community College. Holbert, a big man for himself. Just towers on the mound. Here's the 1-0. Lavoie's going to take off, and Reed has no play as the pitch tailed away into the left-hand hitter's batter's box. And by the time that Reed even caught the ball, Lavoie was basically over at third. Willis, he has a very slow windup, and runners are just taking off. Lavoie stole second and now steals third. And now a runner 90 feet away from scoring for the Corvallis Knights. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs for Spencer Scott. 0 for 3 today at the plate. There's the 2-0, and that's down and away. Reed keeps it in front of him, but it's 3-0. The 3-0 pitch, down and away, and it's now a walk for Spencer Scott on 4 pitches. And it puts runners on the corners and 2 outs for the Corvallis Knights. So here's Jonah Vincula, runners on the corners. 0 for 4 today. He's looking for his first hit. He's on an 8-game hit streak, so that's what's on the line here in this at-bat. It's the bottom of the 7th and a 9-4 lead for Corvallis, so this could potentially be his final at-bat of the game. So he's hoping to keep the hit streak alive, hoping to extend the lead. Runner's going to go on the first pitch, and Advincula sends it high in the air towards right field. Holder sprinting over, but Reeder cuts it off in center field. It calls it off on the track, and the inning is over. Advincula's out for the 5th time today, and runners are left stranded at the corners. No runs come in, and no hits overall, just 2 walks for the Corvallis Knights. We head now to the 8th inning, 9-4, Corvallis leading. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road. Got the bottom of the order coming up 8, 9, and 1 here on the Drifters live stream. Eighth inning, it's going to be Cannon Reeder, Cole Klechner, Jalen Ray leading things off, and it's going to be a new pitcher on the mound. It's going to be number 41. It's the tall, hard-throwing right-hander, Caleb Cantola. Cantola comes in for Neil Feist, who relieved Joey Gartell, who started the game for the Corvallis Knights. So it's the third pitcher now for Corvallis. First pitch to Cannon Reeder, lined hard towards center field, dying quickly and making the catch in center field is Vincula. Reeder aggressive, first pitch swinging, flies out to center field for the second time today. Still though 2 for 4 with a double and a single. So we'll bring up Cole Klechner. 1 out, nobody on in this 9-4 game, top of the 8th inning. So Feist, 3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. One of them just earned and 2 walks. Pitch bounces into the dugout of the Drifters after it was deflected from the catcher Stafford behind the plate. That was a little bit of a funny play. The tall 6'6" right-hander throws a pitch that bounces in off the catcher and then into the dugout of the Drifters, just traveling miles. The 1-0 high and away, and it's now 2-0. So here is Caleb Cantola. This is going to be his 11th appearance of the year. He's originally from Monmouth, Oregon, just up the road here from Corvallis. Plays his collegiate baseball at Lipscomb. Klechner grounds it to the right side. Picking it up is the second baseman, Lee. He'll throw over to first, and the play is made. Klechner's out on a ground out. Klechner now 0 for 4 today, and it brings up Jalen Ray, the leadoff hitter for the Springfield Drifters. Jalen Ray had a single back in the first, had an RBI single in the 6th. Sandwiched in between that, a strikeout and a ground out. 2 outs, nobody on for the Corvallis Knights. Excuse me, for the Springfield Drifters. They're batting here in the top of the 8th. Ray looks at a pitch that's called for a strike on 1. So Springfield, the first time these two teams played, they won 2 of the 3 in the series. They won both games in Springfield but struggled in Corvallis. Ray looks at a pitch called for a strike, and it's now 0-2 to him. That first game they lost 14-2 here in Corvallis. Right now they're trailing 9-4. Still a big deficit late, not as large. Ray looks at a pitch that just misses away, and it's now 1-2. Springfield is actually out-hitting Corvallis today. They have 11 hits. Corvallis just has 9. Just the runs have been hard to come by for Springfield. Ray gets jammed up, soft grounder up the middle. Cantola picks it up on 1 bounce and then takes it himself to first, taps on the bag, and the inning is over. 3 up, 3 down, top of the 8th inning for Caleb Cantola out of the bullpen for the Corvallis Knights. Does what he's exactly supposed to do, puts a 0 on the board, and we head to the bottom of the 8th inning with the Corvallis Knights leading 9-4. 2, 3, and 4 due up for Corvallis. Mason Lee, Kiko Romero, and Briley Knight. You'll see them on the other half of this break here on the Drifters live stream. So it's another new pitcher on the mound for the Springfield Drifters, and it's another new guy to the lineup. It is Bo Hesse, the right-hander from Whitworth. As the first pitch from Hesse is called the strike, 0-1 to Mason Lee. So it is Mason Lee, Kiko Romero, and Briley Knight, 2, 3, and 1 in the order facing off against Hesse. And the 0-1, off speed away, 1-1. So we got to see a little bit from Tyson Willis, and he had one inning where he didn't allow a single hit, walked 2 batters, and that was it. Swing and a miss from Mason Lee. It's 1-2 now. Mason Lee today reached on an error back in the first, and then since then has grounded out 3 times. Hesse, the windup, the 1-2 pitch, fouled straight back, and we'll do it one more time. So it's New Jersey's new pitchers for the Springfield Drifters. We got Hesse wearing 45. We had Springfield Drifter Isaac Avenue wear number 45. Avenue now interning with the Drifters. 1-2 bounces in, 2-2. Be good to see Isaac Avenue tomorrow. I hope he's listening here today. Isaac, he'll be interning with the Drifters for the remainder of the year, and it's been forever since I've been back at Hamlin Sports Complex and seen all the rest of the interns. 2-2 away, and it's now 3-2 to Mason Lee. It's funny, they actually introduced Bo Hesse as Isaac Avenue because Hesse literally just got added to the lineup today, and on the old roster, 45 was listed as Isaac Avenue. Here's the 3-2, and it's fouled back by Mason Lee, and we'll do a 3-2 pitch one more time. But Willis, an impressive first inning of his Drifters career, and now here's Hesse. Lee fouls this way, and we'll do the 3-2 one more time. Hesse, the 4th pitcher today for Springfield after Max Chapman got things going. 4 1/3 inning pitch, 7 hits and 8 runs for Chapman. Chavez came in for an inning and a third, and then Willis that last inning, just the 2 walks. Swing and a miss from Mason Lee. It's a strikeout to start his Drifters career. And that's the first K for Bo Hesse. Mason Lee now 0 for 5 today. Brings up Kiko Romero. Much better, 2 for 3. Had a double and a run in his last time up in the 6th. Facing off against the right-hander in Hesse. First pitch from him. Outside, 1-0. Bo Hesse, teammates with Hunter Dryden at Whitworth. He's originally from Moses Lake, Washington. 1-0 fouled straight back. 1-1. So he chose to go to Whitworth, up the road in Spokane, Moses Lake in the center of the state, Spokane in the eastern portion. So we got a couple of Whitworth Pirates now in the bullpen for the Drifters. Romero fouls this one straight back. It was going straight towards me and then just clipped the top of the roof and went over me. I think that ball is like a little bit lower. Like maybe 2 more feet lower, it finds its way into the booth with me. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out to Romero. Pitch high and away, 2-2. 9-4, Corvallis leading here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Majority of the damage was done in the early portion of the game. Corvallis scored 4 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, and 2 runs in the 5th, but mainly those 6 runs at the beginning of the game was huge. 2-2 runs away from Hesse, and now it's full 3-2. Big innings have definitely been a struggle for Springfield. It feels like just 1 or 2 big innings have cost the Drifters some games this season. And now Romero's going to be aboard with the walk after the pitch from Hesse missed low and inside. And it'll bring up Briley Knight with a runner at first and 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Corvallis, they're looking for last-minute insurance. They've won 8 straight games. They're the hottest team in the WCL. And right now, they're leading 9-4, and they have a chance to win their 9th straight game. First pitch to Riley Knight, called the strike, 0-1. Knight today, 2 RBI singles as well as a hit by pitch and a run. Did strike out, though, back in the 5th. Jalen Ray now covering second in the infield as the Drifters shift into double play depth. The 0-1 to Knight. Looked at, just misses off the plate, 1-1. One away, and it's now 2-1. 9 straight wins would be really, really impressive. Springfield has not even had a 3-game win streak, I believe. They have not swept any opponents. They have had a 3-game hit or win streak, but they have not swept an opponent so far this year. They won game 3 and then won the first 2 of the series. This one's going to be fouled back into the bleachers, 2 rows in front of me. 2-2. As he looks back towards first, now comes Reddy. Here's the 2-2. Down, and Reed keeps it in front of him. 3-2 now to Riley Knight. Corvallis sitting atop of the WCL South in the second half of the year. 12-4 overall. Springfield, they're 6-9 in the second half. Runner's going to go. 3-2, and Knight lifts this towards left field. Klechner sprints over near the line, makes the catch, and then throws it in. Romero heads back to first, and he's there safely. Riley Knight, a fly out, and now 2 are gone here in the 8th.
Now batting for the Knights, the catcher out of Cal Poly, number 4, Ryan Stafford.
So here's Ryan Stafford, the catcher. So far today, 3 RBIs, including a sac fly and a 2 RBI double. Both those happening in the first 2 innings. Walked in a ground out since. First pitch to Stafford, runs away, and it's now 1-0. So with Corvallis sitting atop of the WCL South, they've already clinched their postseason berth. They won the first half. As of right now, with them being at first, they're also tied with Yakima Valley, who's 13-5 in first, and so Yakima Valley would clinch the WCL South for the second half. Pitch misses, throw to second, not in time as Romero beats out the throw from Brandon Reed. And Romero's there safely. A runner in scoring position now for the Knights.
The Knights All-Pro and Pape will be donating $10 to community outreach.
There's going to be 4 teams in the WCL South and WCL North that make the playoffs. Drifters right now, they have some work to do. Pitch comes in for a strike, and it's now 2-1 to Stafford. Springfield's not eliminated yet, although it's looking pretty gleam at this point. A lot of the roster is going to be leaving soon. It'll be interesting to see what happens to this team. As the 2-1's grounded to the left side, Jalen Ray picks it up quickly, fires over to first, and the inning is over. No hits in the inning for Corvallis. Kiko Romero just the walk, and he's left stranded at second after stealing second base. We head now to the 9th inning. Springfield looking to tie it or take the lead. It is 9-4 as we're heading to the 9th. Coming up for Springfield, it's going to be Trevor Anson, Dominic Kellman, and Luke Brown. You're watching the Springfield Drifters on the road here in Corvallis. Top of the ninth inning, it's do or die for the Springfield Drifters. Trevor Anson, Dominic Kellman, and it's actually going to be Caden Delozier due up for the Drifters. Didn't want to get him too ahead of myself with Brown right after him. But Caleb Cantola back on the mound, and the first pitch to Trevor Anson is foul tipped into the mid, and it's 0-1. Trevor Anson has yet to not reach first safely. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first, 2 singles, 1 in the third and fifth, and then was hit by a pitch in his last at bat. The 0-1 Anson high, and it's now 1-1 to him. Anson had extended his hit streak now to 4 games, and he's starting to swing the bat pretty well. Went 4 for 9 against Walla Walla, off to a good start here today against Corvallis. The 1-1 down and away, and it's now 2-1 to Trevor Anson. 9-4 Corvallis with the lead. Springfield trying to make something out of nothing. Still have 3 outs to work with. Anson launches this to left. It's high, but not deep enough. Making the catch right at the track was Briley Knight. The wind's drifting out to left field. It was a high ball, but ultimately it was a little too high.
Dominic Kellman.
Traveled 343 feet to left field, and Knight was there right on the wall to make the catch, and the first out is recorded here in the 9th. First pitch to Dominic Kellman now, called the strike at the low knees, 0-1. Hellman came in for Dane Frazier in the third, got a single, but since then flown out and walked. The 0-1 just misses inside, 1-1. Dominic Hellman, he was away from the team during the Walla Walla series, just like myself. He was at home watching the MLB draft to see if he got drafted or not. The 1-1 misses again, and it's now 2-1. That one just below the knees of Hellman. Hellman, though, didn't ultimately get drafted. Wasn't necessarily a surprise, as I'll sky this one foul behind the plate. He had some looks, potentially a top 5 draft pick in the in the MLB draft. However, he stayed true to his commitment to Oregon, and once he fully came and committed to Eugene, a lot of MLB teams backed off. Hellman gonna get called out on strikes. Called strike 3. Cantola picks up his first strikeout. Now 2 are gone for the Drifters, and Springfield's down to their final strike. Backwards K for Cantola. So far today, 4 times have the Springfield Drifters gone out looking. So here is Caden Delozier. First pitch to him, away, 1-0. Delozier played his collegiate baseball right down the road at Lynn Benton Community College. Corvallis, of course, is in Benton County, the county seat. Delozier rips this to left, hanging up and staying up long enough for Briley Knight to make the catch. And the game is over. That'll do it for us here in Corvallis as the Knights win 9-4. It was a 4-run first inning and a 2-run second inning for Corvallis that put them ahead early. Nate Stevens did hit a 2-run shot in the second. That gave the Drifters some life. They were only down by 2 at that point, but the 2 runs came in the bottom of the second. It made it a 4-run game early, and then ultimately it was busted open in the 5th inning where the lead was stretched all the way to 6. It was their largest lead of the game, and ultimately they hang on and win by 5. 9-4 is the final. Springfield overall, I will say I'm very, very impressed with the swing from Nate Stevens. He's starting to swing the bat a little bit better, and he had the 2-run shot to left field. Really impressive stuff for him. On the mound, Max Chapman, he had an up-and-down performance. Those first 2 innings were rough, and then the 3rd inning that he came out for in the 5th was pretty poor as well. But that 3rd and 4th inning, he had 1, 2, 3 frames in each of them, and he worked really, really efficiently. I think that was a real positive. Diego Chavez, 1 and 2 third innings, 2 hits, just 1 earned run. And then Tyson Willis and Bo Hesse in the bullpen put zeros on the board, and that's what they were asked to do, despite the team trailing by 5. Overall, though, Springfield drops the game, and they lose their first game after winning game number 3 against Walla Walla. This is a team that has been spiraling downward as of late. They have lost 9 out of their last 11 games now, dating back to that series finale against Cowlitz when they had the chance to go for the sweep against the Black Bears. Since then, it just really hasn't gone the Drifters' way. They're going to be looking for success tomorrow as they drop down to 6-10 overall in the second half of the season, and they're 6-27 overall and last place in the WCL if you look at the overall standings. Springfield tomorrow will be hosting the Corvallis Knights, as this series is a 1-1, or rather a 1-1-1. Game 1 here in Corvallis, Game 2 tomorrow in Springfield, and then Game 3 back here in Corvallis. You can catch the game tomorrow on our YouTube channel or the WCL website. That will be at 6:35. The pregame going to be starting around 6:15 or so, 6:20 with our Tommy Talk. Excited to get Tommy Talk back and going since we'll be back home. The Drifters' first home game in quite some time. They had the 6-game road stretch against Ridgefield and then Walla Walla. Then they had the whole weekend off, Friday through Monday, and then they return to Hamlin Sports Complex after this road game today in Corvallis, which they ultimately fell to 9-4. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on social media at Drifters B-Ball. Be so excited to provide you Drifters baseball at home as well as Drifters baseball on the road back here in Corvallis on Thursday. It's been a pleasure. Knight Uretsky, your play-by-play man. Thank you to everybody that's been involved in this broadcast. Thank you to the Oregon State athletics facility for allowing us to use this facility, as well as the Corvallis Knights organization, providing me with a booth here in Corvallis. Looking forward to being back in 2 days here in Corvallis, and looking back to being back home for Springfield Drifters baseball. You can also buy tickets to tomorrow's game on our website, Springfield Drifters. Go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you back at it tomorrow here on the Drifters live stream as Springfield falls 9-4.